This is definitely a laxative.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Eating While Broke. I'm your host, Colleen Wit, and today we have a very special guest. Grammy Award-winning Lecrae is in the building.
I'm in the building, man. I'm in the building.
This is extremely cool for me.
I'm excited. This is cool for me too.
Yeah, I saw you. You start getting into it.
Yeah, I'm excited. This is cool, man. I had to get to come back to my roots a little bit.
Yeah.
And see how this tastes after all this time.
So how many years, before you tell us what the dish is, how many years has it been?
Man, solid 30 years, probably.
Jeez.
Yeah, like, for real.
We gonna see if your stomach can handle this today.
Yeah, 25.
And he's on the hard 75, right?
Yeah. It's all good. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go crazy. I'm gonna just have a little bit of it. This ain't really a cheat meal, so you know what I'm saying? This is not cheating at all, matter of fact. So.
So why don't you go ahead and tell us what you're gonna have us eating today?
Okay, what we gonna have today is we gonna have, some pork and beans with the hot dogs. When you put them together, you get what's called Beanie Weenies. So we gonna have the Beanie Weenies, you know what I'm saying? And then we got spinach, but not just any spinach, the canned spinach, because my mama wanted to make sure that I had my vegetables as a kid. So I ate vegetables out of a can. Canned spinach and canned corn. Ho, green giant. You know what I'm saying? So canned corn, canned spinach, and it was a whole healthy meal. You know what I'm saying? You get a little, carbs with your beans. You get your protein. You get your vegetables, a little carbs with the corn. Hey, we in there. And then just to be fancy for y'all, I got a little brown sugar, just a little. But we wouldn't have did that. We didn't have no brown sugar to waste on.
Okay, well, we're not gonna use the brown sugar. We want to take it all the way there.
Okay, cool.
We wanna feel it. We wanna feel it with your story. So
Excellent.
Go ahead, start whipping it up.
Okay. Oh, easy. So we're gonna start right off the bat. You know what I'm saying?
By the way, I switched those out for turkey dogs.
Okay, well, that's you fancy. You're doing fancy things. So we gonna. Just right off the bat, you know what I'm saying? You're gonna cut these down to size. So we gonna chop these down to size because it's gotta stretch. So you can't get a whole hot dog in there. You're gonna feel like you got a lot of food, but you just, you know what I'm saying? We gotta stretch it. And they'll cook a little bit faster when they cut up like this. You know
How often would you say you were eating this back then?
This is normal. So this was, just childhood, because you got to think, one, I'm a latchkey kid. So my mom worked while I was at home by myself a lot. So either A, I had to be able to make it myself, or B, she had to be able to whip it up quick. She was tired. She came home from work. So, sometimes she worked 2 jobs. So she just tired, come home from work. She had to just be able to whip something up real quick. This is quick and it's cheap.
Yeah, really cheap.
Yeah.
Really cheap.
So it's like super cheap. So we're not gonna do them all because you may want to eat those turkey dogs later. You know what I mean? You may want to eat that a little bit later. But then let's see here. This stove is much fancier than the one that I had growing up. You know what I mean? But we gonna just go low because I don't know how it go. You know what I'm saying? And then we just gonna skillet these boys up a little bit and get them cooking. And let those, cook while those is in there cooking. Then we'll move on to the vegetables.
Okay. And do you mix your vegetables, your spinach and your corn, or is
No,
okay.
Separate.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Separate. I don't want them touching. So you got 2 pots.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, generally, there's gonna be a little liquid in those cans.
Yeah, we try to drain them for you.
Yeah, so you want a little bit though. You don't need all of it, just a little bit, so you don't burn the bottom of the food. You know what I'm saying? You don't want it to burn. So I just took a little water and just put it in there. Not too much water, because then obviously it takes the flavor out, but you're gonna burn the bottom of the food. And then with your spinach, so the way that my mama got me was to watch Popeye the Sailor Man cartoons.
Yep.
And then it was Popeye spinach. So I didn't like vegetables. But she got me to like them because of the Popeye was on the can of spinach.
Yep.
So then I ate it.
And by the way, I did not know till today that Popeye, I always thought it was a cartoon and that was just how they convinced us to eat spinach. But
That's hilarious.
I did not know till today that Popeyes is an actual spinach brand or spinach. I did not know.
Oh, yeah.
Learn something every day.
Now, see, unless you buy like certain brands, it's generally unseasoned. So even though, I don't know, still sodium in there, some reason, I don't know why. But unless you buy certain brands, it's unseasoned. So I got some seasoning today.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? But this is a little fancier, but it's still good. This is Slap Your Mama. It's a little fancier, so it's definitely gonna be tasty. So we would season that up, but let's let it heat up a little bit before we throw some seasoning on that. And then you got your canned corn, ho ho ho, Green Giant. You know what I'm saying? Put that canned corn in there. Oh, we gonna have us a meal.
We gonna be good today. So take me back to what was going on during this time of pork and beans, spinach and corn.
What was happening? So I would come home from school, just like elementary school. I come home from school. You know, my mom and my pop separated. Really, my pop's he went down a dark path. He lost his job, so then he went down a dark path, had some addiction issues. It didn't work, and he wasn't able to be there for us. So, you know, when it's just me and mom, she's young. She's in her 20s, so she's got to kind of figure it out. So she had, it's like a form of assistance, but not like welfare, but it was like a form of government aid. You know, where they would allow you to get like a certain things from the grocery store. You take it in there or whatever. Kind of like what WIC is today. I don't know if they still have that, but
Like food stamps?
Kind of, but not the same, because it's like for women with children type of vibes.
Okay.
So she would get that and then, you know, go to the grocery store. The unfortunate part about that, fortunate but unfortunate, some of the stuff was free from the government, like powdered milk, disgusting. You know what I'm saying? Like powdered eggs, disgusting.
Powdered eggs?
Yeah, disgusting. But then they also had like this block of cheese that was amazing. So I'm not mad at the cheese. Cheese was great. You can hear the little sizzle.
Yeah, I can hear it.
I can smell some stuff cooking too. So we in there, we moving. You know what I'm saying? We moving. Now what I'm gonna do to speed this process up just a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and add the pork and beans. Cause see, I was trying to get them a little sizzle, but we just gonna let it simmer.
Okay.
That's what we gonna do. Let it simmer. So we're gonna put the pork and beans in there. Oh yeah, this is gonna be right. Oh, this is gonna be right. We need a little.
This is bringing back real memories for you, huh?
Absolutely. I mean, I haven't eaten like this in forever, but I'm sure.
Well, you have children now. You don't ever say, "Hey, I'm gonna show you what it was like."
So let me tell you what's funny. During COVID, everything was like on short supply. So the luxuries of just going out and grabbing whatever and expecting it to last forever was not always there. You didn't know, we didn't know. So what I told my kids and my wife too, I was like, yo, I'm finna run and get all the struggle foods that I got growing up, so we'll have them in the worst case scenario, because we didn't know what was going on. We thought the world was going to end. So I got the canned spinach, I got the canned vegetables, all of that type of stuff. But what I did was I got the ramen noodles too. A lot of people don't know how to do this, but I chopped the ramen noodles up to where they like rice. And then you put that in some oil. You let it simmer up. It gets a little soft. And then you chop up like some chicken or something like that and add some cheese. It's like you got like, it's kind of like stir fry. It's like rice-a-roni or something like that.
What?
It's amazing. A lot of people don't know about it, but it's a little, you get creative.
Did they like it?
They loved it.
Really?
They loved it, but I was like, it's too much sodium in this. Y'all should not be eating all of this. It's too much sodium in here.
But now, isn't the sodium? This is just a random sidebar question, but isn't the sodium in the packet of seasoning? It's not considered not in the actual
It is,
ramen,
but
right?
you use the seasoning though.
Yeah.
Use the seasoning.
But that's the key to the secret stir fry. Is it the seasoning?
I would use some of it, not all of it. I try to use half of the seasoning. I mean, my son still will eat ramen noodles to this day.
Okay. Who doesn't love ramen?
That's what I'm saying. He still eat them to this day. Like, I don't want my kids to feel spoiled and entitled just because we have arrived outside of having to eat the struggle meals. I still want them to, have an appreciation.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You're never too good for a pack of ramen noodles. You know what I'm saying? Never too good. So.
Never too good.
Yeah.
Now, I know your I know I'm familiar with some of your testimony.
Okay.
But I want the real passenger seat of this testimony. So you grow up in a single parent household with your mother.
That's right.
Your father separates from you guys.
Mm-hmm.
How often are you seeing him?
Never.
Never for how many years?
For all my life. So I saw him once when I was about 10 or 11. He had gotten made some money with some pharmaceutical sales. Mm-hmm. And he came to see me, took me shopping, and then I never saw him again. And that was and I don't say that like, and I never saw him again, but I mean, just the reality is, he comes from a different era, different generation. I think they have different struggles, and just kind of like dealing with the reality of what he was dealing with. I think he was, his dad wouldn't have come to him and been like, son, I apologize, da-da-da. His dad would have been like, well, that's what life does, keep it pushing. So
but how did you feel as a growing up with him and then him disappearing? Did that create some kind of
energy? I didn't really get to know him. So he left when I was like 3.
Oh, 3.
Yeah,
okay,
so
I thought it was later.
Nah, I didn't really get to know him. He left when I was 3. I saw him again at 10, and then I didn't see him again until I have never sat down and had a conversation with him. I had my first sit-down conversation meal with him in 2020. So for like 5 years ago.
Wow.
It's the first time we ever interacted for real. So it was eye-opening, but I'm at a stage in my life where I'm not a boy who's missed out on having a father. I'm a man who's had to become something that he never had. You know what I'm saying? So you just learn. It's a lot of wounds. You learn to deal with those wounds, and then you grow from it. And so I wouldn't be able to sit here and cook Beanie Weenies if I hadn't gone through some of the struggles.
But did you face that interior battle of like wondering what happened? Did your mom have those conversations with you? What did that look like?
She didn't have a conversation. She didn't have now she's a brilliant woman. Back then, she was young. She just didn't have the tools and the skill set to know. Put a little bit of this slap your mama on here in the meantime. We talk about my mama. I made me think. Put some slap your mama on this real quick. Put a little bit on the corn too. Just hit it with the, you know what I'm saying. But she didn't have the skills to know how to talk to me about those types of things. She was young. So I didn't deal with the struggle that I had from not having my dad in my life until I got much older. Like it did cause a lot of like trauma for sure. You know what I'm saying? Because I don't think I would be successful if my dad was in my life, being honest with you. Because my success is really because of the trauma. Like I wanted to be approved of. I wanted to be desired. I wanted to be wanted. And so I just kept achieving so people would see me, people would accept me, people would want me. And I don't do that now. Like that's not why I'm successful, but that's what was driving my success as a younger person. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was that fueling that, well, I gotta become somebody and who am I unless I'm approved of? And so now, for me, I know God approves of me. God loves me. So I'm good. But as a kid, oh man, it messed me up and I didn't realize how bad it messed me up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now let's go to the next pivotal milestone as we inch towards where you're at today.
Okay.
What was that next pivotal thing that happened in your life that either led you towards music?
Yeah.
Or...
so I started rapping as a kid. So the other thing about it was my mom, because she was a single parent and she had a lot on her shoulders. I mean, she had boyfriends. She ended up getting married again. That didn't work out. But it was kind of chaotic. So I would stay with my grandmother for months at a time. And staying with my grandmother, my grandmother's house was like a hotel. Like all the family members would come stay there. So every time I would go stay with my grandmother, I would stay for like 3 months at a time, 4 months at a time. And when I would stay with my grandmother, people would come. And my cousins came who were older than me, and it was late one night. I was probably about 6 or 7. and they were up watching TV. And I was like, what are they watching? I should have been in the bed, but it was rap videos. And so I was like, what is this? And I was like blown away watching it over their shoulder. And they said, hey, what you doing in here? But then they said, come on in here. And I just fell in love. I stayed up after that every night watching rap videos. So I fell in love with rap music probably like 7, 8 years old. And by 10, I was writing my own. I was trying to impress the girls in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I remember writing a song to this girl, Trina. It was like Trina.
Shout outs to Trina now.
Trina, I won't dish ya. I won't treat ya like Aisha. Like it was, you know what I'm saying? It was just me trying to, but that's really what birthed something in me to like pursue the music. You know what I mean? So.
What do you think about the rap music in particular that really pulled at you?
At the time, I think it was like, I could relate. I saw pictures of myself. I saw, like, Tupac was my favorite rapper as a kid. And the reason why is because he told these honest stories about his life. And his life, it felt real and authentic. And he told stories about not having his dad. He told stories about his pain. He talked about just the drama and the trauma that he experienced. And I was like, man, he's telling my story. Like somebody's telling my story. And I just connected, you know, in a deep way because of that. And so I just feel like, I don't know, you know, because of that, Tupac was like a hero to me, like almost like the dad I didn't have in a lot of ways. And so, yeah, I just wanted to try to take after that and write music that was from the heart. And also another thing is Tupac as a kid and Erykah Badu as a kid, strangely enough, I remember both of them like spoke to like, they were speaking from like a deep place, even though I didn't understand what it was, but it just made me feel like, oh, they want to change people. Lauryn Hill too. It was like, y'all want to help people with your music. And I was like, I want to do that. But I didn't know how. And I didn't have a relationship with God really at the time either. So I didn't even understand any of what was going to be my future. You know what I'm saying?
Did you grow up in any type of religious type household whatsoever? Mom, grandma?
So the funny thing about it is, my mom grew up in church. She hated it because it was so religious. She couldn't wear makeup. She couldn't wear pants. She couldn't go to like sporting events, like all of this.
Sporting events?
I know, it was crazy. It's like religious cult, like type of, but you know, she was raised, like they were from the country. They didn't know, like they're not really educated. So they just like mixing like superstition and religion together. So my mom just was like, I don't want you around all that stuff. Be a free thinker, think freely. So I wasn't raised in church. We didn't go that much. I would go when I was with my grandmother. My grandmother was big into the church, but I didn't understand what was going on. It was just like shouting and clapping and singing. But I did see her lifestyle, and that was inspiring. Her lifestyle was like feed the homeless, take care of people. We would drive, because this is in Southern California, so we would drive to Tijuana and just go up into Mexico in the mountains, and she would like bring food and feed people. I'm sitting here talking about to mess this food up.
Wait, I didn't know you were from LA. I thought you.
Yeah, so so we stayed in Southern Cali, but then I also in Texas as well. So I would go, you know, back and forth, Texas, Southern California, even Denver, Colorado, back to Southern Cali. So we would go to Mexico. We would, you know, my grandmother, her character was dope. You know what I'm saying? She wanted me to have a relationship with God, but she didn't know. She wasn't like educated in all of that. She just knew the Lord. So she was like, I was like maybe 5, and she was like, do you love God? I was like, yeah, I think so. She's like, all right, we're gonna baptize you in the ocean. You know what I'm saying? It was like, I didn't know what was going on, you know what I mean? So it was an interesting dynamic. Yeah.
And then would you go around your mom and then ask like questions maybe per se?
Not really, because to me, religion just seemed like grandma's like kind of like backwoods country stuff. You know what I mean? It was like, my mom was like big on education, made me read books and, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, let me tell you something funny as we making this. I have eaten this a million times. I've never I don't think I've ever made it. I made it. I made the
You're
spinach.
hilarious.
I don't know if I've ever made this. I've eaten it a million times. I don't know if I've ever made it. Maybe I did. You know what? I probably did in the microwave. That's probably what I did. I probably put the hot dogs in the microwave.
Is that you're realizing that because you're looking at it and you're like, I don't know if this is what it's supposed to look
It
like.
don't
right
look.
now?
I don't remember it looking like this, but I'm thinking of it, and I was like, you know what? Because I didn't really make it. My mom made it for the most part, but I think I put it in the microwave. I'm pretty sure I put it in the microwave.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
saying?
especially if you said you've been cooking it from very young.
Yeah.
I feel like her trusting you with the stove.
Nah. I put everything in the microwave. I sure did. I was a microwave baby. Microwave. But I can cook, though.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
I can cook what I can cook.
Okay.
I'm not going to say, like, if I know how to cook it, it's going to be good.
Okay.
That's what I'll say.
Because we had garlic powder back there. We had onion powder back
Yeah,
there.
no.
We had all
no.
these seasonings. He grabbed the slab of your mama, guys. Not trying to judge, but that's like if you can't cook, trust in this.
Oh, for sure. Then that being the case, I cannot cook. Because Slap Your Mama does the work for me. For sure. Slap Your Mama does the work for me.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife can cook. I'm not, I mean, I can grill though.
Okay.
Play with me on the grill.
I love how you're slowly walking it back.
Because I'm saying I can cook what I can cook. I can fry some chicken. I can make spaghetti.
Okay.
I can make burritos and tacos.
Okay.
And then I can grill everything else.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Some vegetables, some sides.
Gotcha.
All right.
All right. So when you were first saying that you would spend time with your grandma in between your grandma and your mom, I just assumed they lived close together.
No.
So you would get on a plane and
I was
go.
on a flight since a little kid. So that was a crazy thing too. It's like I'll fly by myself. Like she would work 2 jobs and then pay half the ticket. My grandma may pay the other half of the ticket. And then I would hop on a plane by myself since a little kid. Like, so I remember flying with the flight attendant, playing like cards with them. You know what I'm saying? But I would stay for months at a time. So it really wasn't like, a couple times we drove, but like very few. You know what I mean? But yeah, I remember that. Like, and I loved it. The reason why I didn't stay, I remember around 14, the gang started taking over. And gang culture started pulling me in a little too strong. So my mom was like, hey, we gonna change the scene up. You know what I'm saying? It's time to change stuff up. And I kicked and screamed, I rebelled, but.
Was your attitude at home slowly starting to shift a little bit?
Oh,
They were
yeah.
picking it up on it?
Oh yeah. My attitude at home, I mean, the clothes I was wearing, the rags hanging out my pocket, the graffiti on the streets, getting brought home by the police. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
You think your grandma called it in?
No, I would get my grandma was kind of oblivious to it. So my uncle was like a reputable gang member in the neighborhood. So I followed after him a lot. He was like my dad. He's only 10 years older than me, but he was like my dad. So he's like, you know, this is what this is what that is. I don't gonna say all the things he showed me, but he showed me a lot of things that, you know, you just typically don't show a kid.
Yeah.
And from there, you know, I just started to move down that path. And my mom saw that and she was like, this is not what I want for you. So then she moved. And it was like, I didn't go back to California again for probably, good gracious. I was in Texas. I probably didn't go back from 14 till 19.
Wow. She was like, this is not happening for you.
Pivotal time though. 14
Yeah,
to 19.
smart.
Very
Smart
pivotal
move.
time.
Good
You
job,
know what I
Mom.
mean? Yeah.
Shout outs to you.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So you go back to Texas. How are you feeling Texas? Are you coming with that same attitude?
I tried, but here's the thing. She got remarried and he got a good job, right? And so we moved to a nicer area. We didn't have a lot of money. We didn't have any furniture, but we lived in a nicer area. So it was kind of like, that type of energy was weird. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, why are you trying to be the toughest dude in a nicer area? You know what I'm saying? It's like, why are you trying to be the hardest dude in Pasadena?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, what's going on here? You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of what it felt like. And so I kind of started thinking about it, and just, I was around different types of people, like folks who were trying to do something with their life and on a straight and narrow. A lot of the kids were talking about going to college, and I was like, man, this is, you know, it's kind of like,
Yeah.
You know, like changing my perspective. So I started to mature being around that. And then I had teachers who actually cared about me and they weren't, you know, so my first year I failed everything almost. I failed almost every class. But then as I kept progressing, I would do better. Teachers cared about me, invested in me. And one teacher said, man, you got a gift in, you know, like acting. And she was like, you should pursue this. And so I actually, I pursued it. I started, you know, getting involved in like school plays and which is weird. I was embarrassed. I didn't tell anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because I was like,
you didn't tell anybody, as in family members?
no, like people in my friends in the school. Because
wow.
the plays weren't performed. We only did one play in front of the whole school, and I was embarrassed about it. But I was like, it's all good. I'm gonna do it. But I knew I had something because everybody was like, you got something. And then they encouraged me to audition for a scholarship, and I did it on a whim and got a full ride. Yeah.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
And just to backtrack, with your stepfather at the time being a provider, was your mom more hands-on with you, would you say, during that era?
She still had to work. She worked
okay.
a lot still, but she was home more, for
Okay.
sure. She was home more. She still had to work. She was home more. You know, he was really traditional. He was kind of like, it wasn't like a healthy environment. It still was like, you know how they say you could take them out the hood, but you can't take the hood out of them. So it's like, yeah, you went from Compton to Pasadena, but you still brought Compton with you to Pasadena. Yeah. And so it's still like, some stuff in the house wasn't bad, you know, it wasn't good. So that, obviously, that relationship dissolved. But yeah, man, I think she, you know, she's always been solid, just been she's a fighter. She's a grinder. The spirit of hustle, she put that in me. You know what I'm saying?
Now, were you still doing rap music at that time?
I was.
During like the whole acting era too?
I was, but I kind of put it on the back burner. You know, I put it on the back burner. I'm in school right now, so I'm acting and I'm rapping on the side. I'm doing a lot of stupid stuff on the side, if I'm being honest with you.
Let's talk about the stupid stuff just a little bit. Just a little bit. We're trying to get the whole testimony. And I got to use the word testimony with you.
Okay. Yeah.
You can serve
okay, I'm gonna serve you up. Let me hold on. Let me see. Take my little Invisalign out.
I was wondering the whole time. Yeah. I was like, I wonder if he can eat it though.
No. Take my Invisalign out real quick. Okay, so here's the thing though. I gotta sample it, but make sure it's right.
Go for it.
I gotta sample it and make sure it's right, cause I don't.
Make sure there's not too much slap your mama in
I
there.
don't trust that it's gonna be just right unless I sample it myself.
You can't really mess up corn, can you?
I mean, you're not supposed to be able to, but it's not slapping, but it's cool. It's cool.
I told him that I was gonna judge his dish.
You can't mess up corn.
So he's putting extra.
Now this I didn't season at all. This don't look like my mama's. It looks.
Is it too saucy?
It looks very No, I mean it just looks like it got too hot at the bottom, but it's all good.
Okay.
We going.
Did you burn it?
I didn't burn it, but I definitely.
Here, I'm gonna slide you a plate.
It's definitely not like, you know what I'm saying. Let me get you.
Got the hot dogs in there.
Yeah, I don't know how hungry you are. I'm giving you sample.
Give me
sample size.
Sample size. You want to save my stomach just in case?
I mean, nah. I think it's gonna be straight, but you never know. Never know.
Here we go.
I ain't had the Beanie Weenies in forever.
So, and then cool. Now the stove's turned off. You can get in closer to this mic now.
Okay. Bam, bam. Make sure it's off.
All right. Here we go, guys. We are gonna sample spinach first.
Yeah. Now about the spinach, like I said, I didn't put the butter on there like I should have, but it's all good.
That's good.
Yeah, see what I'm saying? It gets the job done.
Your mom said it was better than the did she say it was better than? By the way, he phoned his mama.
I did. I had to hit mama up.
Okay. Spinach is good.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think I like the leafy spinach.
I do too.
Yeah.
Now I can tear that up.
Yeah, because this is like extra mushy.
Yeah.
This is the pork and beans, not baked beans, guys.
Mm-hmm.
Good, great job. This is the only thing you didn't season.
I didn't do anything to this. But I never have seasoned this. My mama don't think she seasoned
It's
it.
really good with the hot dogs.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
All right. Yeah.
Corn, butter. I would have put butter in that too.
Now, I notice he doesn't mix his stuff up at all in real life, too.
Not really. I can, but I don't. I'm kind of like OCD like that.
Corn's phenomenal.
Yeah,
All right, guys. Lecrae can cook.
You know, just a little something light.
As long as you have Slap Your Mama in the kitchen, he could cook. I'm just messing with you.
Right.
I'm just messing with you. This is a great dish. And you know what? I would just mix it all together on one fork.
There you go. You could do that. I
know?
mean, that's nothing wrong with that.
Look at that.
Yeah. What the funny thing about you is asking me
great. This is a great dish.
It works, right?
And it's affordable. So if you guys are pursuing your dreams out there or going through hard times, this is a totally fine dish.
Yeah.
You know.
It's funny because when like I was telling you, I was doing a bunch of stupid stuff, and I wouldn't. It's funny because I was fake rich because I was making money fast the wrong way.
Oh, that's what type of stuff you was doing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Making money fast the wrong way, and hustling and doing dumb stuff, and
But in a good neighborhood, you were doing that?
yeah.
Dang.
Well,
right?
really, what happened? So this is the funny part about it is, I should have seen opportunity. Instead, I saw a lick. I saw like, victims. You know what I mean? So it was kind of like I took advantage of that, and it was like, y'all people, it's car doors that are unlocked. Like y'all are crazy. Like that's my opportunity.
Wow.
And then I was just always looking for opportunities. That's one thing I will say is like, I was looking for opportunity. I've always been that type of person. Like, where's the opportunity for me to do what I need to do? I just was doing it in the wrong way. You know what I mean? So I remember I moved out. I moved in with my friend. I was going to drop out of school and moved in with my friend, and we were doing some stupid stuff. And, so what I would used to do is I would throw these parties. I would get a bunch of high school kids. I'm fresh out of I'm in college, like second year in college or something like that. So I'm like 20.
Oh, you're talking about dropping out of college.
Yeah, dropping out of college.
Okay, I was like, what happened?
So I'm promoting these parties, and what I would do at the parties was, when you come to the party, I will sell you some things when you get to the party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's kind of how I would move. So I was, we would promote these parties. You make all this money. You got thousands of dollars on you one night. We made all this money, and then we get outside after the party's over, the windows, because we had put the money in the trunk. And somebody had smashed through the window, opened up the back of the car, the seat, figured out how to do that, and took all the money out the trunk. So...
Oh, I know what you're talking
You know what
about.
I mean?
Okay.
School.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say they popped the little
Nah,
lever.
they just came through the back and took the money out the trunk. So now thousands of dollars are gone. So now I'm like, man,
Jeez.
that was really frustrating. But I should have learned my lesson. Like, because at this time, I feel like God was dealing with me, but I just wouldn't listen. I wouldn't learn my lesson. And then I go to this school that same week, and I'm going to pass out flyers. I got some stuff in my car that I should not have in my car, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And I'm in the school passing out these flyers, and I see the campus, like the not the campus, but like the high school, like security, whatever you call the people that walk around the high school. And they spot me, but I'm thinking I blend in. I look young enough. I'm thinking I blend in, but then he keeps walking toward me, and I'm like, oh shoot, let me get up out of here.
But wait, this isn't. You're going to high schools to do this.
I'm going to high schools.
Oh,
so
shoot.
school gets out. So I'm trespassing. That's all. I'm all bad.
Wait, you skating. You skating that line.
I'm all bad, but I'm not.
Okay.
I'm just thinking.
Yeah,
I've done it a million
yeah.
times. So you just you dumb. You young too. You 19. You dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm on the campus, and then I'm trying to pass out the flyers, and then I see the officer looking at me, and he's walking toward me, and then I cut out. Well, apparently, I don't know how they did it, but he had radioed to somebody else. So as soon as I got out the door, the police were just sitting outside waiting for me. So they was like, hey, you can't be on school property. You don't go to the school. And I'm thinking they're just going to kick me out. It's all good. You know, just let me go, man. I won't come back. They said, nah, they cuffed me up. They put me in the back of a police car. So then they go search my car.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, the crazy part about it is, in my car, I have things I should not have. And I also have the Bible my grandmother gave me. So she gives me this Bible. And it was like a good luck charm. But at the time, I had really been trying to learn more about God. And I was reading through it, even highlighting, underlining some stuff. So it was used. You see what I'm saying? So the police officer, he comes back to the police car. And he's like, that's your Bible in the car? I said, yes, sir. He was like, you need to stay in that Bible. I see you've been reading it. I said, yes, sir. He said, I need you to stay in that Bible. I don't want to see you no more. And I was like, okay. So I'm thinking, oh, he didn't find the stuff. Thank God, I'm free. He lets me out the car. I go back to my car. The stuff is gone. The car is ran through.
Wow.
But the Bible's sitting out there. So to me, it was like, all right, that was my sign.
Yeah.
You know?
But I'm just kind of curious to backtrack. What was causing that little bit of curiosity into the Bible to begin with?
I think I was just going through a lot. I was depressed. I was going through hard times. Had a pregnancy scare with my girl at the time. And I was just in a dark place. You know, I had gotten into some fights, and just the money's gone. I'm thinking about dropping out of school. I was dealing with depression. And no, I didn't have a pregnancy scare. I got my girl pregnant, and then I forced her to get an abortion.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So it wasn't even a pregnancy scare. It was like, I forced her. I'm dealing with that. She was crying. She's depressed about it. I was like, man, there wasn't no other way. You know, so my life just felt like this is going downhill, you know, and it just felt like, man, I'm just like, what am I doing with myself? And I felt like that was like, almost like God saying, I'm giving you another opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm giving you a second chance to like really turn things around. And so I think for me, that was a pivotal moment. I mean, now at this point in time, I had, you know, it didn't all happen in like order like this, but this whole season, basically what ended up happening to top it all off, not only does that happen, but then I just stumble into a church. I'm like young. I'm like, I don't know. You know, the people just started showing me love. I ended up going back to campus, and then you know, some young, you know, Christians started showing me love as well. And I'm like, this is weird, but it was just a beautiful time where people embraced me and just were showing me love, and they weren't beating me over the head with stuff. And it was just love. It was the family that I wanted growing up, but I didn't have, because I was at home by myself a lot of times. My mom loved me for sure, but she had to work. You know what I'm saying? No male figures ever showed me any love except my uncle, and he was going down a dark path himself. You know, he's rehabilitated, thank the Lord. You know, he's on the straight and narrow now. And then my dad's not in my life. So I just wanted a sense of belonging, you know, to feel like I mattered. And this community of people showed me that they loved me and that I mattered. So I was open to listening to what y'all talking about? Like, give me the God stuff. Yeah.
Now, as you got into the church more, were you exposed to, I love this story. I was a later Christian. I'm Jewish and Jamaican, grew up Jewish and Jamaican.
Okay,
so later Christian.
Ooh, there's a lot of good food on your side, both sides.
I don't know about the Jewish side.
They got that bread, man. That challah bread is good.
Okay. That's all we got. But now I have to dig into this a little bit because even when I first came to God, there was like churches full of love, and then you did have the churches that were very rigorous in their like the upward walk or whatever.
Follow the rules
and then you get exposed to quote unquote, you know, I kind of compare them more to like the Pharisees in the Bible. Yeah. And that's a conflicting thing to be exposed to. Did you get exposed to all that in that era? And how did you deal with that?
I didn't, because it was mostly just the love. Because it was a lot of young people who, see, the thing that made me say I didn't want to like really follow God is because I didn't see people who looked like me, just young people who just like looked like me, was dealing with the same type of stuff I was dealing with. But when I saw him, I said, oh, well, if y'all can follow God, so can I then, you know.
Oh, it went from like a grandma situation.
Yeah, exactly. So it was
wait, well, there's more of us?
Yeah. So the grandma stuff, and shout out to my grandmother, she's great. But I'm saying like that idea of what it looked like, I wasn't rocking with that. But when I saw it meet me where I was at, it was cool. Down the line, yeah, I ran into more people who were like, you know, especially when I started doing music, when I changed my music up. So now I changed my music and I start rapping, and I graduate school, I get a job. It's the crazy part, I couldn't find a job when I graduated college. So I was a cable man, but I was a hustler. So one time the vice president of the cable company came in and talked to us all, and I said, hey, excuse me, I got a degree, and I was just wondering on my off days if I could just come in and intern for free in the marketing department.
Okay.
And they was like, oh, we like this guy. So then I interned, and they ended up hiring me in the marketing department for this big cable company, right? So I'm working my 9 to 5 at the cable company, but then I'm also like making music and doing little shows on the side. And every time I would do concerts, you know, people would bring me out, oh, come do a concert at my church or at this youth center, whatever.
And your music is now fully Christian at this point?
At this point in time, yeah, absolutely. Fully Christian. So now I'm like, I got little gigs here and there, and I didn't know about the church because I became a Christian and started following God with a bunch of college students, not like with a church group.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So I didn't know how the church rules were and all that type of stuff. So then I would start going to these little spaces, and they would be, and then, you know, coming in dressed like I'm dressed, my tattoos, I got my hat cocked to the side. This is back in like the Dipset era with the do-rag hanging down, you know what I mean? So, and they like, you gotta take the hat off in here. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? Like, you can't wear a hat in this building. And then it was like, hey, you said God is not pissed off at you. You can't use that type of language here. And I was like, what? You know, so that's when I started running into that like very churchy, religious world. And
did that provide any confliction in there?
Oh yeah, but not immediately. Because immediately, at first I was like, oh, there's something wrong with y'all. But I think as I got further in my career and I really started to take off, I started doing really well, you know. And I think the reason why I started doing well was because I wasn't from the church.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's because I could connect with the average everyday people. So church people like what I was doing. Regular people who wasn't following God, like what they was like, that's kind of dope. Like it sound like I had even some of my homeboys would be like, you sure you want to just do this for God, bro? You dope, bro. You know what I mean? Like you could really blow up. And I was like, nah, this is the path I'm on. But as my career kept going upward and more upward and upward, and God just kept blessing me, I think I became so trusting because I didn't grow up with a family. I became so trusting of all of these quote unquote church folks. Yeah. And I was like, oh, we all a family. And I let my guard down, which is okay. Sometimes you gotta let your guard down. But I let my guard all the way down to where I started finding my identity and my worth in how much they loved me and not how much God loved me.
Oh, yeah.
So when they start tripping on me, it got dark. Really dark. To where I was like, maybe I'm done with God because they tripping.
And how far into your career was that?
This is like probably 10 years in.
Wow.
So 10 years of I'm going crazy. 10 years like bam, bam, bam. It's just a build up, you know. And I think it like we eating this struggle meal. This is like if you never forget where you came from, you can go further. It's when people forget where they came from. People forget how to struggle. People forget the power of broke. When you broke and all you got is this, you got to figure out how to make it work. Yeah. You know what I mean? So that was what was making me rise, was because I would get to a certain level and everybody was expecting something different. They were like, oh, you're not gonna. And I'd be like, no, it's cool. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. Hey, we don't have this. Okay, it's cool. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. And people just was like, oh, we got to have him. We got to use this. We got to do that. And people want to work with you. So I think that's part of what happened for me was over that 10-year span of time, I just kept rising. Because I never looked at myself as having arrived. And I saw so many other people, they're like, oh, I made it. Yeah. You know? Yeah.
Especially in today's era, if they get like 10,000 followers,
Yeah.
like, I've arrived. Like,
Yeah.
what does your bank account say?
That's what I'm saying. I still don't. I don't feel like I made it today. You know what I'm saying?
Really?
Nah.
Oh yeah, you made it.
Nah. But I'm saying that's the power where it broke. It's just
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
I'm grateful. I'm content, but I always feel like. I think the other thing is if you've been here, you're always afraid you're gonna be back here.
Yeah, that's a real thing.
Yeah.
Now I've interviewed some people that are like, "What's the worst? I've already done it. I've done the syrup sandwich, so I can go back, and I'm like,
I cannot go back.
I honestly think it's the entrepreneurs that more lean that way. They're like, gamble again.
I cannot go back.
No,
No.
You almost went back during COVID.
I mean, I could go back to trying it, but I could. If I have to, I will. If there's nothing else I can do, cool. But I will exhaust myself. I will go work at the post office before I go back.
Like where this is survival.
Facts.
I see, right? This is you're like, I don't want this to be survival. I think a lot of people that have gotten to where you've gotten to was like, please, no, I would never.
Listen, man, it was a couple young artists. I remember this like 2018. I'm on the road with these young artists. Man, they had a viral hit. The song was big. This is when I was signed to Columbia, and we was like on a radio tour. So I got the song out with Ty Dolla $ign. It's blowing up. I'm on doing radio tours, and I'm on a tour with these young artists. I ain't gonna say their names, but they had a big hit. And we backstage, and they're kids, and I see them with this $100,000 worth of jewelry on, and so I'm just trying to be big bro. I'm like, man, y'all jewelry crazy. Like, yeah, bro, we spent 100 racks on this, and I said, oh, that's what's up, man. Where y'all stay at? Oh, we stay in such as these apartments and such and such. I said, oh, okay, man. Y'all definitely should get y'all some property, bro.
Yeah.
Buy something, because, you spend all your money on the jewelry and stuff and you don't have anything to show for it. And they was like, nah, we just make another hit.
Oh, God.
It never came.
Dang.
It never came.
And the thing is that I think when you pawn in some of those jewelry, especially when they're custom, they're not worth anything.
Oh,
when they do the custom, when someone has like their name and the colors.
It lose value. Yeah, it loses value
right?
immediately. So that's what I'm saying. I don't want to go back. I'm not going back.
So it's safe to say you invested your money wisely.
Yeah, absolutely. I can't go backwards. Like, not all the way back. No. Like, I can't be on stages rapping for Beanie Weenies. We can't do that.
No.
That's not what we want.
So during the periods of where you're in your career is doing well, but now you're starting to question things. What is pulling you out of that?
The darkness?
Yeah.
Good friends, for one. I've always had friends who kept it solid with me. Sometimes it was hard, especially when, you winning Grammys, you're making a lot of money. Your friends, like, don't know. It's weird for them. Because they like, people want your autograph or take a picture, and it's like, that's weird. You just you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the good part about that was they never looked at me like, wow.
Yeah.
They always just saw me as, you just you.
Yeah.
So when I was going through stuff, they could keep it real with me. And they could just be there, and they weren't like coddling me and being like, they would just keep it real. Like, hey, man, this is where you drop the ball at. This is where you tripping at. This is where you probably need some help at. And good friends. My best friend is my wife for sure. Without her, oh, my gosh.
Shout out to the wife.
Man, I'd have been cooked. So she kept it solid. And she was like, because I told her, I said, man, I don't know what I believe right now. I'm not doing no Bible studies with kids. None of that type of stuff. I'm just like, I don't know.
You backed all the way up.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what I believe right now.
Wow.
And to be honest with you, I was kind of like, if God ain't real, marriage is just an institution.
Oh, wow.
And so, why did I even do this? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm like trying to rethink. I'm just pulling out all the stuff.
Why? So the relationship you had with the church folks or whatever starting to cause these cracks, right?
Yeah.
What makes it go to the point where you start to say, well, if God isn't real, though?
Because I felt like because what it was people hurt me, but I blame God. You see what I'm saying? God's people hurt me, but I blame God instead of his people. You know what I'm saying? So that was really the thing. It's like, I trusted y'all, I looked up to y'all. Y'all gave me all the right answers. You pastors, you leaders.
Yeah.
You told me this was this and this was this. But then when I got some questions about stuff, or when I do something that y'all don't like or y'all disagree with, you turn your back on me.
Yeah.
Or you talk crazy about me. So I'm like, well, what can I trust that comes out your mouth?
Exactly.
You know, that's what I started thinking. But then I was like, you know what? Even the clock is right 2 times a day.
Yeah.
So it's like, y'all were right about God. Y'all are wrong about the way you're treating me in this season. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I like that, in this season too.
Yeah.
So that, I guess that leaves room for forgiveness, right?
Forgiveness, growth, for them to have their perspective. And a lot of people have come back and apologized. A lot of them have.
Wow.
A lot of them are like, bro, I was tripping. I didn't understand it. I didn't see it.
Yeah.
You know, so a lot of people came back and apologized. And some of it had to do with, you know, I feel like politics crept into the church and just turned everything upside down. So if you didn't agree with somebody politically, it was like, oh, you out of here.
Wow.
Or if you cared about issues of justice, but they felt like this is a political thing, it's like, nah, I just care about people. You know what I mean? They're like, that person's a criminal. You shouldn't care about, let them.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Yeah.
that sounds crazy. So they're like, you sound crazy. And now it turns into a fight. I was like, I can't deal with this.
What does your wife say during this whole period of questioning that kind of helps you?
I think it's not what she said, it's what she did. She just stayed solid. You know what I'm saying? She said, I'm just going to pray for you. She's like, I'm just going to pray for you. And she just prayed, stayed solid and prayed. And wasn't like, she was like, I don't have an argument. I don't have the energy to go back and forth with you arguing. I'm going to pray. I'm going to talk to your friends. I'm going to hope that, and you know, my friends would come talk to me. And then I think too, the other biggest thing was, honestly, I feel like it was just, sometimes you get so close to the stove, you like, man, that stove ain't hot. You know what I mean? It's not hot. It's definitely not hot. And then you burn yourself so bad that you're like, okay. And I think that's part of what happened to me too.
Okay.
Is I burned myself so bad because now I'm back. Once I start questioning stuff, all I know is to go back to where I came from. Where did I come from? I came from drugs. I came from being in the streets. I came from figuring out how to hustle. So I'm thinking through, if I'm not gonna do this Christian rap thing, what kind of hustling am I gonna do? You know, and I'm depressed and I'm tripping and I'm drinking now a whole lot and I'm popping Xanax and I'm just like spiraling.
Wow. This is during this whole period.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I'm just going downhill. So I woke up in a depression, and that's when it was like a clinical depression. That's when the stove was too hot. It was like, oh, it's too hot. And I'm addicted to these pills, and I'm waking up in a panic, and I'm like, oh, I'm tripping. And, you know, I blame myself, but at the same time, I feel like the enemy was just putting stuff around me to make it worse. So it's like, I'm trying to find a doctor to go talk to about a prescription. I can't find one, but then I find like a pill farm on accident. It just so happened to be a pill farm around the corner.
Yeah.
And then this is a doctor, and he like, yeah, take 2 of these, man. You'll feel good. And I'm like, addicted.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? So it was just a process, man. And
how long did that process take?
I would say it was an ongoing battle for 2 years.
Wow.
It's a 2-year battle. From like 2016 to 2018, I was just in a battle. You know what I'm saying? It would be like 6 months, I don't care about nothing. Nothing matters. And then 1 month, I'm like, all right, I'm tripping. And then it'd be like 3 months, no, I'm not tripping. This is stupid. And then 1 month, maybe there is a God. And then, you know, so just...
Eventually you pick up the Bible again, or? Yeah,
so what happened was, in that depression, I'm in a very low moment. And I'm just like, I can't snap out of this. And I was like, I didn't want to pray. Because I was like, nah, God, I feel like that ain't right for me to pray. I didn't turn my back on you. Like, I'm finna come try to pray. You know, like, and that's pride.
Yeah.
You know, because God isn't sitting back like, you better stay over there. You know what I'm saying? Like, so pride kicked in, But then I was just so down, I couldn't shake it. Like 1 day, 2 day, 3 day, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, about 5, 6 days. And I can't shake it. And I'm like, yo, help. So then I'm sitting down. I'm just like, all right, man. I was like, God, I don't even know what to say. But if you got something for me, I'll take it. I open up the Bible, and it's on a story when after Peter had denied Jesus 3 times. And then Jesus comes to him after he resurrects, and he's just like, hey, do you love me? Peter's like, I love you. He's like, do you love me? He's like, I love you. He's like, do you love me? He's like, yeah, I love you. He's like, then feed my sheep. And what that said to me was, this man denied God, but God was still like, oh, I ain't tripping on that. Just get back to work. I'll forgive you. And then I just broke. I'm like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like,
that's a beautiful testimony.
So that's what spin it all around. And then, you know what I mean? From there, we just start building back, man.
Shout outs to God, man.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, dang, this is just a nice experience to hear your testimony from you.
Oh, yeah.
This close.
Yeah,
eating your broke dish. But why don't you tell me and everyone out there listening, like, how they could keep up with you? I know you have a podcast right now and all that.
Yeah, you can definitely tap in on the podcast, The Deep End with Lecrae. Make sure you tap in.
And share with everyone what you talk about on the show and the type of guests you have.
The Deep End is where faith meets culture. So what's going on in culture and society? I mean, it's not like it's a conversation. It's not always going to be like it's not a Bible study, but it's a conversation. And faith gets weaved into it. We've talked with Will Smith about his spiritual journey. I talked with Nick Cannon about what it's like to have all them kids and why you ain't stopping no time soon.
I think he's stopping. I think he's hella like pausing.
Yeah, he should have paused a long time ago. I love you, Nick. But we talked to some OnlyFans creators who got off of there, and they're exposing like some of the problems with it. Man, it's just lots of different people from different walks of life. We'll talk to like pastors and ask them like hard questions like, yo, man, what's up with the money in the church and like what's going on behind the scenes? And it's just where faith and culture meet. The questions that the culture wants to ask and conversations the culture wants to talk about, but from a faith perspective.
When you say the culture, you mean like Black audience or youth audience?
I mean like
young
just
audience.
The world.
Okay.
I would say probably if you between 25 and 40, this is like the stuff that you're thinking about.
Yeah. You
know what I'm saying? So it's like the stuff that you're thinking about. And let's talk about it. But I hear like college students listen to it too. So I don't,
It's interesting. It's interesting. The conversations are deep. It covers all the questions you'd want to know. And that like when I watch them, you're asking the questions that I'm thinking that I want you to ask.
Yeah.
So it's good. You're present.
I love when people say that. That's like one of my favorite texts. Like, man, I'm glad you asked them. Then I want to know the same thing. I was like, I'm just going to ask you what the people want to know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And then music. What's going on with that?
I got this collaboration project with Miles Minnick. He's a younger artist. He lives here, but he's based in the Bay. He lives in L.A., but he's based in the Bay, from the Bay. But anyway, so that project's out. It's called Get Well Soon. We got E40 on there. We got Yellow Hill on there. We got Tommy Zuko. We got I'm missing somebody. DJ Mosky. I'm missing somebody.
So
Forgive me.
it's a whole album or?
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's a project that we put together. West Coast like nobody's business. It's just I always wanted to really make some good West Coast music, and I felt like, I just didn't really make what I wanted to make historically. So I always made a song here or there, but then this is a full-on West Coast project. And then I wanted to get with a younger artist because being in the game a long time, you can hog the limelight and artists, they want, no, it's me, look at me. And I'm like, man, how can I breathe life on somebody else who's already, he has his own movement and momentum, but if I can add any credibility, then let me do that.
So how did you guys link up?
The funny part about it is he met me when I was on tour years ago, but I don't remember. But he was a fan. He waited outside my tour bus, and he was like, man, I just want to give you this $10, man. And I was like, I can't take this money from you, bro. You know, it's like, he's my last $10, but I just want to sow where I want to go. And I want to be on where you are.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. You know what I'm saying? You buy Cray a latte and then you never know what'll happen.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So, but he did that. But then years later, he was bubbling. He was making some noise and he hit me up and asked me to do a song with him. And I did that song and that was fun. And I liked he was a humble dude. I liked his demeanor. Then after we did that song, then it turned into me wanting to put him on a song. Mm-hmm. He worked so fast.
Yeah.
I said, let's do another one. Let's do another. And then by the time
that work ethic was there.
Yeah.
Work ethic, talent, persistence, and he planted that seed.
That's right. So
that's the number one thing.
By the end of it was like we had it.
Wow.
Yeah.
And what's it called again?
It's called Get Well Soon.
Get Well Soon.
Yeah, it's, you know,
the West Coast.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So when somebody's sick, you say, oh man, I hope you get well soon. And then, you know, we feel like a lot of people are sick right now. A lot of people dealing with stuff and you got everything from financial stuff to family stuff. So it's like, it's just some joy. And you put some joy in your mix real quick.
On the project, what's your favorite and why?
My favorite is The Method, hands down. The song's called The Method. It's just a West Coast, like it's from the Bay to Sacramento to LA to San Diego, like no part of Cali's untouched in the song.
Wow.
And, you know, we got E40, the mayor on there, you know what I'm saying? So it just felt right, man. It's just, and we just, you know, this is want to wake up the West. So working on that and then working on my solo album.
Wow.
So,
okay. And we don't know when the date of that is coming out?
Solo album will probably be sometime in the fall.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we'll do a world tour.
That's what we want. That's what we want to hear.
World tour is coming.
It's coming. Yeah. It's coming. Well, thank you so much for cooking for me.
Hey, man, struggle meal.
And then before we sign out, I just got one last question. For someone that's going through that transition of, you know, Christian to maybe falling off course a little bit to getting back up, what advice would you give to them, or what could you share with them to kind of carry them through?
Yeah, man, I would just say life is a journey, and everybody's journey, I think every person realizes there's a gap that we're trying to like fill, right? No matter what you believe in, you know there's a gap. You know there's like, man, something's not all the way right. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times we try to mend the gap ourselves. Like, well, maybe if I just get another job, or if I find the right guy or the right girl, or if I reach inner peace, or, you know, and it's like, man, I think that's a God-sized gap that only God can fill. And a lot of us are avoiding God because we're like, it's too simple. We want easy answers and answers that please us, but we don't want, and, you know, I think people are afraid of God because they feel like he's going to invade on their fun or their privacy or whatever. And he wants to just make that better. He wants to bless that. So don't run from him. Engage. Even if you're like, I don't know, like lean in. Because you can't, what's the worst that can happen? By you leaning into someone who's supposed to be loving and peaceful and benevolent and good. Like, what's the worst that can happen? You know what I'm saying? So this is not a toxic boyfriend that's going to do you bad. It's like, so I would just say lean in, even if it's dark and ugly, lean in, you know, let them work on you.
I like that gap too, like acknowledging that gap right there. Because a lot of people, I do that. I'd be like, there's this little, and then with social media, with the 75 and hard or whatever, you're like, I can fix it with this.
That's human nature.
Just go to the gym. That's what they're posting about. But no, you're right. Open the Bible.
Yeah,
you know,
for sure,
and I
man.
think just on my own walk, just definitely like getting in the Bible versus just going to church. It makes a huge difference.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You know?
For sure. And just even just I'm a big audio person. I just listen, or I can listen to a podcast. I have a conversation about the Bible. I can, like, you know what I'm saying? It's like, even if I'm not just sitting there reading myself, which I think people should do, read with other people. I don't know why we believe this like thing that you got to be in a corner by yourself with the Bible, just trying to like, nobody does that. In like, no kid is like, you know what? I'm 7 and I need to learn algebra. Let me just open an algebra book by myself in the corner. You know what I'm saying? It's like, get with some people who know algebra. And, you know what I mean? And just bounce stuff off each other. So that's,
I like that.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, guys, for tuning in, and thank you, Lecrae, for feeding me.
Hey, you know what I'm saying?
This trio combo,
Hey.
and for all the listeners, just mix the spinach with the corn and the
Beanie Weenies.
Beanie Weenies.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, y'all. Peace out.